Hello there guys and welcome back to my channel. On today's episode we're going to be cooking up a lovely bit of grub and we're going to do a Q&A. You guys have sent in some juicy questions. I want to answer them for you today. I'm not going to do a big 4-hour roast. Keep it simple, keep it tasty, and let's have a good chat. So this video is sponsored by HelloFresh. Yes, I know, I'm a sellout. I've sold out already. But for anyone that knows me and Jen and our life, look, we use HelloFresh all the time. We absolutely love them. I actually think using HelloFresh has made me become a better chef because I'm using ingredients I wouldn't have known. There's no wastage, you know, going to a grocery store. I don't want to buy a little bit of dill just for one dish. You end up wasting loads, or you don't buy it and the dish is sacrificed. So with HelloFresh, they send you exactly what you need. There's no wastage, which is massive for me being vegetarian. There's so many options and I absolutely love that. So I'm never bored, there's always something interesting. And as well, being someone that likes to spread kindness and positivity and joy, in 2020 they sent 4 million meals to charity, which I think is amazing. So go to hellofresh.com and use my code BenJolliffe10 to get 10 free meals, including free shipping. With that said, we're gonna make a lovely silky Sicilian penne today. Let's do it. So first up we have the mushrooms and zucchini. Gotta give them a good wash, very important. You know the rules, guys. We're gonna get the zucchini and chop it in half. And about 1/2 inch thick slices. Pop them in a bowl. And we're gonna get our mushrooms. And again, we just want about 1/2 inch slices. And throw them in the bowl as well. And we'll set aside. Then we're gonna get our tomatoes, chop them in half, pop them back in there. Then we're gonna get our chives. And then we're gonna thinly slice the chives. Set aside. Lovely jubbly. Then we're just gonna get our lemon, chop it into quarters, set that aside, and that's the prep done. Easy, let's fry it up. So medium-high heat, plenty of olive oil, don't be shy. Then we're gonna throw the mushrooms and zucchini in. Then we're gonna fry this for about 7 to 8 minutes till it gets nice and brown. We're gonna add plenty of salt, plenty of pepper. While that's cooking, we're gonna add our penne pasta. Gotta love a bit of penne. Throw in some boiling water, medium to high heat. Cook this for about 10 to 12 minutes until nice and al dente. Right, now the mushrooms and zucchini look nice and browned. We're gonna set that aside in a bowl. Then we're gonna get a little bit more olive oil in the pan, pop a bit of butter in. Then we're gonna add the tomatoes, half of the chives, and then half of the Italian seasoning. Smelling lovely. Then we're gonna add juice from half of the lemon. This is the best. Then we're gonna add our stock concentrate. This just gives it a nice richness and depth. Bloody love it. Then I'm gonna add about 1/4 cup of the reserved pasta water. Look at that. Then we're gonna get our Creme Fraiche. Right. Right, now the fire is stopped, we're gonna continue to put the Creme Fraiche in. It's the worst sound in the world for poor Cheeky, she hates it. And it's not the best sound for anyone. So we're gonna give this a little mix up. Then we're gonna add our mushrooms and zucchini back in. Give them a lovely little mix up. Then we're gonna add the pasta into the pan. Then we're gonna add a little bit more butter. Better get a bit of butter, because everything's better with a bit of butter. Right, add some Parmesan. And then this is about ready to serve up. Right, let's give this a go. See, that took like 15 minutes. Last time when I made the big Wellington roast, it's like 4 hours. That's so good. They literally get every dish right. And they haven't even told me to say this, you know? I'm saying this because it's true. Every dish tastes so good, and you don't even have to be a good cook to make this stuff. It's very easy. The directions are super simple, and I think it's a really good way to get to that next level of cooking. So while I continue to tuck into this, I'm gonna answer some of the questions you guys have sent in. I wanted to do a Q&A partly because I'm not very active on my social media. and it's a good place for us to kind of communicate and have some back and forth. So with that said, let's start with the first question. So we have, what inspires you to make content? This is something that I think over 2020, quarantining and all that kind of stuff has kind of really sort of changed my approach and my mindset for this. Some of you guys might know I shoot video work for brands and influencers, and before quarantine happened, my job was to basically shoot mass gatherings and be out and travel, and so basically a lot of that had kind of stopped, and it worked out for the best because it's an amazing job. I get to be creative, I get to meet people, work with great brands and travel and see new places. There's so many great aspects of it. But I think for me, as a creative, but also someone that wants to inspire people, I want, just in life, I like to make people feel good. But the problem with that kind of job, sometimes I feel like it's the opposite. You're trying to show this life that people can't have, look how great this life is, look at this trip, look how great this is, look how happy everyone is, and all these things that I feel like isn't really the truth behind a lot of it. I wasn't really making a difference. I wasn't really inspiring people with that kind of work. And, it's a very blessed position to be in. And I get it, we can't all love every aspect of what we do for work and all that. And I think for me, coming back into the YouTube space, it's a place for me to be creative. It's a place for me to put some good energy out there. And I really think that, for me, it's not all about the numbers and the followers and all that stuff, but it's about how many people can I connect with to make them feel better about themselves. And whether that's cooking, whether that's mindfulness, whatever it is, I just want to put that good energy out there. And so I'm really happy about this new journey, about this new chapter, and I can't wait to see, what happens next. So the next question, your advices about how to change career. I mean, this is something that I've done massively, for anyone that doesn't know, I was in a band for most of my life. I mean, ever since I was a kid, I was touring, I was traveling, and I lived that very much kind of band touring lifestyle, living out of a suitcase, sleeping in bunk beds whilst moving. And it was an amazing job, but also kind of, it takes you away from the real world. You live in your own kind of bubble. But I think for me, that realization of kind of falling out of love with drumming and with, touring was amazing. Get to do so many great things, meet great people. There's no better feeling than playing live on stage, but that was only like 5% of being in a band. And I think that realization when, I'm coming up to my 30s and, I've just met Jen and we're doing long distance in LA to England and I've been doing the band life my whole life, and I wanted something new. I wanted something to kind of push me and challenge me. And there's only so much you can do when you're just one of five, you're just a drummer in a band. There's only so much you can push yourself and challenge yourself. And so coming to LA and moving here, I think I didn't know what I was gonna do. My job was my plan was to move over here, be with Jen, and then let everything else figure itself out. And I know that that's, again, it's a bit of a luxury to have that mindset, but I think I started accidentally getting into video and helping Jen out, and I think that we all get so caught up in the fear of the change and the unknown and what if I fail and what, I started a new career at 30. I'm starting to do video while there's all these kids at 16 years old that can turn your eyeballs into space, it's very easy to feel like you can't do this, you're not good enough, other people are better than you, what's the point? Getting in that mindset isn't gonna help anyone. So you have to be true to yourself. You have to think about how you truly feel. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, if you feel like you want to make a career change and it's something deep within your gut that just makes you feel like you want to do it, just go for it. I mean, life is so short, and it is that, it's so cheesy to say, but it's the things you don't do that you regret. If it doesn't work out, at least you tried, and you'll always have that. So I would say if you're worried about something like that, don't let that roommate, that voice inside your head doubt and give you all that fear. Just go for it. And if you screw up, if it goes as bad as your worst imagination, right? You would have learned so much, and because it's the mistakes we make, that's how we learn and that's how we grow. So I would say, just go for it. Right, next question. Hi, what was going through your mind as you decided to leave the UK and come to the US? There was a lot going through my mind. I mean, again, going back to that idea of change and, living 5,000 miles away and moving and starting a new career, and, I had so many friends and family that so close with, and there's a big part of that you're giving up. But I'm also quite a present person, and I've always been okay with the idea of change and the unknown. I mean, I was in a band my whole life. You don't know what tomorrow looks like. So, that kind of mindset was a bit easier for me than for some people, I think. I was just excited. I'd fallen in love with the girl of my dreams, and I wanted to just be with her and start a new life and a new chapter. And I knew that as long as I embraced it and just went in with just an open mind, an open heart, and it's just a clean slate, you know, and I think I really embraced it and I was really excited. And as I got more into video, I started to feel that creativity and that kind of similarity with music. So I absolutely loved it. And I think to anyone that's thinking about doing a change, just embrace it. Most memorable show you ever played with young guns? I mean, there's a lot of memorable shows that will always be in my memory. I think probably the biggest one, there's Reading and Leeds festivals, a big one in England. I grew up like 15, 20 minutes from Reading Festival. I went there every year as a kid, from 14 onwards. And fast forward to 2010, we got to play the main stage for the first time, and it was a massive childhood dream for me. I didn't even imagine that I would get to be on that stage. I always had a dream of playing one of the smaller tents. And that was one of the best feelings I ever had, to kind of see Reading Festival from the other side, from the stage. And it's funny because as a kid, I always looked at the bands on the main stage thinking they're driving home in the Ferraris and staying in these glamorous hotels. When we played it that year, my mummy dropped us off, and we stayed at my mum's house afterwards, and we were late for the show, and she had to drive us really quickly and drop us off. So it wasn't really the same kind of aspects as I thought when I was younger, but it was such a memorable show to be on that side. And if there's a little clip I'll put up here, actually, the Wall of Death and having all the fans come together, that was quite special. How do you deal with not needing validation from people you care about? This is a really big one, I think, because unfortunately we're in a world right now, especially with social media, with numbers and followers and look what they're doing, look what they're doing. It's a very dangerous game to play, and I think unfortunately our ego and our mind crave that validation, crave that attention, that need for love and approval more than we should. At the end of the day, validation should come from within. It doesn't matter what other people think about you. It only matters about what you think about yourself. And that's one thing I really learned doing video work for brands and influencers, people that on paper have the perfect life, beautiful person with all these followers, all these things that unfortunately a lot of kids now look up to and think that's a life I want. And a lot of the time, a lot of these people aren't happy, or they've got they've got crippling anxiety, and they can't help but compare because of the world they're in, because it is so competitive, from looks to followers to money to all these things, that it is a really dangerous game. I think if you're struggling with validation from other people, number one, try and get off social media for a while. You know, meditate, try and be at peace with your mind, and try to kind of avoid situations where you are going to compare. And also a book that's really great to read, that's easy, 4 Agreements. Chapter 1 is be impeccable with your word, and it's all about how you speak to yourself. We're all our worst enemies. You know, no one has abused us as much as we abuse ourselves, and that's something that's really important. Number 2 is don't make assumptions. We're also quick to judge and assume situations. We assume people don't care about us, they didn't text back because they don't like us, all these things that it's just poison in the mind. So the quicker we can try not to make assumptions and judge, the better we'll be. Number 3, don't take things personally. This is a massive one. It's something I've really learned, that what people think is right is their perception. It's something I read the other day. It's how you see the world is not how it is, it's how you are. And we all have a different perception, and our different conditioning and paradigms from our childhood, from our parents to our family to our friends, to all these things that change the way we look at the world. And I think not taking things personally is a really big one, because that's something that if you take things personally, then you're going to go back to not being impeccable with the word, because you're going to be harsh to yourself, you're going to be speaking bad things about yourself. So I think that's a really important one. And number 4 is always try your best. Always try and do your part. Always set the example. It's a testament to your character, how you treat others, and it's a testament to their character, how they treat you back. And it doesn't mean you have to be perfect every single time, but always just try your best at whatever state that is, and you'll be good. So, how do you keep yourself up when people around you are doing great things, not feel like a loser? I think a really important thing to figure out is, how do you define success? A lot of people define success as fame and money and having that perfect career, and that is an element of it. I look at success as if you're at peace. You know, if you're at peace, if you wake up every day and you're at peace, how can anything go wrong? I mean, if you're always at peace, if you're managing to be that calm mindset, then you win in life. And peace isn't something that you can see on social media, or you see your friends shouting about what job, what money, how great they look, and all these things. Like, I think one thing is really important, again, without making assumptions and judgments, you don't realize what someone's going through. It might look like on the exterior, on the outer purpose, that they've got all their stuff together. But it's amazing how many people in the world I'm in, the people I meet that do really well, make money, have all these followers, all these things that, you know, a lot of us would look at as how we define success, but a lot of them aren't happy and they're struggling. And it's like, why have outer riches if you have inner poverty? And I think that's where you need to help try and change your perception of what success is. Again, you know, if you're trying to constantly compare about what other people are doing, you're making assumptions, you're making judgments, you're taking things personally. So in trying to take that back, just focus on yourself, being kind to yourself, and trying to figure out how you define success. And me, it's peace. And if you meditate every day, if you try and learn the mindset and be more mindful about how you approach situations, you just win in life. It's not always about driving fancy cars and having big followers. It's about how you feel inside. So to me, I think that's what's most important. The next question, the best book you'd recommend regarding mindset. Guys, this is a big one. I could spend forever talking about this, but I think in 2020, I really learned to kind of be more spiritual, mindful, and really worked and read books and tried to educate myself on really how to control the mind and how to understand the mind. And the best book I've ever read in my life, completely changed my life, is A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. Unbelievable. And it is all about the roommate in your head and how do we find consciousness. And it just completely opened my mind to the way we look at the world and how the world really is. And I didn't treat this as a book to just read and go on to the next. I treated it as you would if you were studying, if you're at school. I wrote like 50 pages of notes. And every day I work towards practicing these mindfulness approaches and how to define consciousness and how do we get as present as possible, because there's no more important time than the now. And how do we define that? We're also wrapped up in things we can't control, and anxiety is worrying about the future and depression is worrying about the past. So if we can try and be present and mindful in that mindset, we win in life. And that book was absolutely changed my life. So if anyone that's interested in mindfulness, then please read anything Eckhart Tolle or Power of Now. I promise you, it will absolutely change your life. So last question is, how contented are you in life now? Is there anything you'd like to change? I think it's easy to get into that mindset of, what can I change? How can I be? I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. It's a really poisonous way to be. Always try your best, but always be present and appreciate who you are now. I don't think I know I've never been in a better position mentally. I think this is the best I've ever felt, and that's partly because, you know, the life I have, very blessed with Jen and everything that's great, but it's also my mindset, my mindfulness, and being as present as I can. The more present you can become, the better your life is, because you're not worrying about what's about to happen, what did happen. You're just being present, you're just being. And I think we have an outer purpose and an inner purpose. Our outer purpose is our job, our careers, our status, all these things that do matter, but not as much our inner purpose. And that's our being, our consciousness, and like how present we can be. And the more we focus on that, the better our lives will be. And actually, the more it will actually help our outer purposes too. There's a quote I really like, and it's, a man has two lives, and the second one starts when he realizes he just has one. And I think that's something that over the last year, I've really felt that, and I've really learned that. And I think that's such an important part. So guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you all so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments below what videos you wanna see or any questions you have. Please subscribe. And if you are interested in HelloFresh and you want a free cheeky 10 meals, that's right, just the 10, and also free shipping in case that wasn't enough for you. Use my code BenJolliffe10. My second name's a bit weird, so make sure you spell it right. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you, bye.